started the day with the question, what would you do with $4.5 million? I'm not ready to think that big. So I'm going to ask a different question this last half hour before lunch. What would you do with an extra $3,200 this year? That's the question I want you to be thinking about today. According to the USDA, the average American household, like mine and my wife's up in Dayton, Ohio, just an hour away, or out west in Denver, Dallas, or Des Moines, the average American household will spend $10,000 this year on groceries. That's not going out. That's not the 2 drinks tonight on Vine Street when the party is over. That's household groceries. The same study tells us that same average American household will throw away 32% of the groceries they purchased and brought into their house. $3,200 per household. Now there's an adage that we don't throw away good food. We put it in cute little containers and put it in the fridge, and then we wait until it goes bad, and then we throw away bad food. But that adage is costing us real money. It takes a toll on our farms, our infrastructure, and the way that we live. Imagine, if you will, you knew that 32% of your utility budget was leaking out the edges of your windows. Or you had a leak in your basement that was costing you 32% of your water bill. Or your kids could not leave the door shut in the wintertime. You would fill the gaps. You would fix the leak. You would adjust the thermostat, and you would look to stop the bleeding on 32% loss. Am I right? That's exactly what we did in our house. Let me tell you how we did it, or what we did. This is my family. The tallest one is here on campus today. He's on a lab working on a robot somewhere. And so when these guys were little, my wife had just come out of the Air Force where she had served as an environmental engineer. I was taking the burden of being the financer of the family with a great career in the nonprofit sector. To say that our new family, our young family, adjusting to one income with a dad schlepping for charity was tight. The budget was tight. And we paid close attention to how we spent our money and how we wasted that money. Now, honestly, through this time, my wife was the driver of this initiative. She was in charge of the checkbook. She was in charge of the shopping. She knew if the expenses were going to be paid on time or at all or ahead of time. So our meals looked like this sometimes. It's very weird. She would eat the leftovers on Tuesday from Monday night, and we would eat the new dinner on Tuesday. So often her dinner might be leftover pasta, a nice side salad, and then pancakes. I mean, carbs are carbs, am I right? Like it's not a fancy French loaf, it's just the pancakes from Sunday brunch. We didn't think much of this in our house. Our boys grew up eating weird meals. Caleb may be having tonight's spaghetti. Andrew may be cleaning up the night before's beans and rice, and that's just how they were raised. The food never went into the trash. But as an environmental engineer, she knew this small fact. Those landfills that we're running out of space for, 25% of the mass is food. Food that was once edible. Food that you and I once paid for. Food that was once in your pantry, in the fridge, or on the shelves at your neighborhood grocery. 25% of that, or 25% of that mass is that food that was never consumed or let waste at our home. Also, she was familiar with our budget, and she knew that we couldn't afford to send our food to the landfill. Do you remember 5 years ago? This week, how weird things got? My kids thought they were going to have a 2-week spring vacation. But do you remember how we got real intentional about trips to the grocery store? A, to avoid people, but B, the anxiety of wondering, will there be on the shelves? Remember the great toilet paper scare of 2020? eggs, protein, fresh fruits and vegetables. Could you buy a Clorox wipe, right? It was that time that this happened at the same time my wife and I were sent home from our jobs, and we set up a home office together, and we were spending a lot of time together. We're both very competitive, so card games quickly went out the door, puzzles quickly came and went, but then we got focused on this food waste problem. We were making creative meals. I had all day to prepare, and we began to tackle this idea together. Instead of opposing each other, we joined forces on the same team to win this game. It was a strange time, and it feels strangely familiar right now in the grocery stores. This is how it started. We're a couple weeks in, and I'm in the kitchen. I'm the chief cook in our house. I'm the chief dishwasher, and I'm usually the guy that cleans out the fridge. And one day, I had discovered some good food that I stored in a cute little container had become bad food. And I'm standing over the trash can, spooning some really old mac and cheese into the can. And I just remember thinking, pasta, cream, butter, cheese. It's like $1.20 right to the trash. And so I said it out loud, $1.20. And we began to play this game that whenever we wasted food, I would speak it into the ether for no other reason but to catalog it in our house where the two of us were spending a lot of time. We were doing creative cooking at the time, and we bought some, I can't remember, parsnips or something like that, and they were awful. If you're a parsnip fan, they were awful. We tried it, and then we threw half of it away, and I'm like, that was 35 cents. That never was given a fair chance in this world. I dropped an egg in 2020, boom. And then we had this moral dilemma. If it was an accident, is it food waste, or do we not count it? We agreed it was food waste, and we bought it into the house to eat. It was not eaten, it was food waste, 12 cents. Better than your portfolio, those eggs now are 55 cents a piece. So I'm way more careful with my egg prep. I've not dropped one in 4 years and 11 months. And that's how it began, was speaking it out loud, bringing attention to the amount of money that we were putting into the trash. We kept at loose track, I would say 12 cents on the egg, that's $2.14. And the next time I put some in the trash bag, it's $3.17. From March to December, that first year of COVID, we kept a close tally, and the dollar amount was $30 to the trash. We had killed the national average. We had won the game. My wife, if I mentioned this, she's a former marathon runner, Air Force officer, engineer. She's what you would call driven, disciplined. I am the fun, lucky guy. This is why you get me before lunch. She was not content on $30. In her mind, we'd been playing checkers. She was ready for chess. So we got serious, and we bought. The next year, we put a Post-it note on the fridge to announce all of our food waste. So in 2020, it was $30. 2021, whenever we threw something away, we put it on the Post-it note, just literally a Post-it note on the fridge, and we finished 2021 at $18. I know. Wait. There's more. I was content. $18 is a pretty big deal. We just saved $12. That's enough for me to go, well, it used to be enough to go to Five Guys for a little treat. $18 is big. Like nobody else, by the way, in our friend network is doing this. We are those people by the end of 2021. Back to my wife, she said, I think we can do better. And we bought an annual planner, week planner for the whole year, and with a purple marker that we found in the junk drawer on January 1, we got hyper specific about the amount of food that we bought and brought into the house and logged every food purchase and every bit of food waste. Now, back to the definition. If we bought the food to consume and it came into our house and then it left our house in the trash can, that counted as waste. Bones, peels, shells, not waste. We do save the bones in a freezer bag and make stock later, but that's next chapter. With the planter and the purple marker, 2022, less than $5 of food waste. I know. I lived it. That wasn't good enough. 2023. Now, by this time, we're using a calculator. Like, how much of this dish that we didn't like that went to the trash, how much would it be? So $3.02. And that's when we begin to tell the world about what we were doing, so it seemed less weird. So thank you for being kind with us today. So here's how we did it, and here's how you can do it too. One, it's just a little bit of planning. We don't spend a lot of time. We spend more time talking about it than we actually do preparing for it. We shop real intentional, like you probably do too. Like the rising prices and inflation cause us to pay attention to our purchases, right? We heard Kai and Joe talking about that paralysis of do we spend, do we not spend, and we spend a little time talking about the shopping, and we meal prep. We look ahead to the week. We're both very busy adults, and we talk about who's going to be home on Tuesday, who's going to be home on Thursday. To have a meeting, we just plan the week so we know which meals need to be prepared and who's going to be enjoying them. And finally, we track, which you've seen the evidence of that tracking. We shop every other week. We did that when Melissa was a fresh lieutenant in the Air Force. She got paid on the 15th and 30th, so we shopped 15th and 30th, and then we've just always shopped twice a month. We shop where you shop, big box stores, farmers markets, Trader Joe's if the traffic's not crazy. We do what you do. We're not doing anything special. But we look at what food we have on hand at that moment in time. So quick look into our pantry, quick look into the fridge, and then I just sort of make a mental note. I have a half gallon of milk that's got 4 days of fluffness. What are you going to do? So the menu for the week will have a bechamel or a white sauce or maybe a pudding treat to use up that milk, or if I'm lucky, a box of cereal for the morning or late night snack, right? We're going to use that milk. If there's something else in the fridge that needs attention, we're going to create a menu and a shopping list around those items that have a short shelf life. Listen, we don't cut corners. We enjoy salty, sweet snacks like everybody else. Kai and I will talk dark chocolate later. Big fan. Popcorn, crackers, chips. We buy all the stuff. And then we shop. We shop the plan. We don't restrict ourselves. We are buying the things we like. We're buying the things we enjoy. But we're just paying attention to the amount of inventory we have and how does that complement what's on hand so nothing gets wasted that's already in our house. Our shopping list, we've got it refined. We shop at 2 or 3 stores every 2 weeks, and we know what we want and how to get it. And our 2-week cycle buys enough food for 10 or 12 evening meals, 20 lunches, all the snacks that we like, all of our favorite little treats, the dark chocolates I like at night, and all the things that you would need for suburban household, including cleaning supplies, paper products, that sort of thing. And we do it for about $200 every 2 weeks. And it takes care of these two. This is Charlie and Lucy. They're not high-demand consumers, but they are consumers, so we take care of them too. I know what you're thinking, but Bryan, I got this thing. I shop at this place. I've got this requirement. Well, we do too. We have our favorite things. This morning at the gym, you saw me over here with these light weights in the corner listening to my podcast. Melissa was on the Peloton just killing miles. She's high aerobics. She's high intensity. She's also high carb. I am working with a team of cardiologists, a dietitian, exercise physiologist. I'm high protein, low carb. We're making some adjustments in how we do this. This works for Trader Joe's. It works for Kroger. It works for Walmart. Works wherever you buy your groceries, the farmer market, the CSA. the principles are the same, so this will work for you. 6 people in your household? Yes. 4? Yes. 2? Yes. 1? Still. We struggle with this slide. It's a little gross. But it's my fridge and you're not coming to dinner. So it's... The key here is that when we do this, we have a rule that we don't overstock what we have. Overstocking is preparing conditions for disaster. If you can't see the cottage cheese in the back of the fridge, you're not going to remember to eat it before it goes bad. Okay? If bananas are on sale, you don't need 4 pounds of them if you only eat 2 a week. Because you're 10 days away from a lot of rotten bananas or a whole lot of banana bread, and either way, that ain't great, right? We got into that cycle, then we had Ziplocs of old bananas in the freezer just waiting for pancakes or bread. No overstocking. There's some rules about food. Number 1, bagged salads. They don't last long, they're nice, right? They got all the stuff in them. Eat those first. The head of lettuce, second. Fruits and vegetables, fruits specifically in our house, berries go first, but apples and a melon can stand there a long time. So in the second week of our cycle, not a lot of fresh strawberries and blueberries, but there's always going to be apples or something that's got a little longer shelf life, right? Carrots never die. Cucumber, that guy can't stay in the crisper forever. You got to think through how long these things are going to last and make a plan to get them out of there. I know you're thinking, this is a horrible slide. It's AI. This is the free version of ChatGPT. It doesn't get better at the paid version. But we've eaten this meal. Listen to what I say carefully. A lot of savings can be made right now if you forget all the conventional meal rules that your grandmother and your mother taught you about dinner time. Chips and guac as an appetizer before lasagna totally works if you try. All right? Now, I will concede leftover guac never looks as good as the original day of guac, but it's not bad, and it will work. Mashed potatoes on taco night? Oh, if you try hard enough. And we have. But here's some rules. Leftovers can't last forever, and they don't magically use themselves without a plan. So we strategically think about how leftovers happen and how they occur. And if you forget those conventional rules about how meals are put together or what you can eat with what, this becomes a lot easier. First rule of leftovers, they always go in a fresh container. Our fridge never has a used casserole dish with foil over the top. That didn't look good at the end of dinner. It's not going to look good tomorrow. Take it out of the dish, put it in the do dish. Treat the leftovers as a fresh ingredient. When you put it in the fridge the way it will be used the next time. Now, I am a fan of day-old lasagna for lunch, so it goes in a portion container, so it's easy the next day for me to take to the office. Some of us still are in offices every day, by the way. Plan for the use. So immediately when dinner's over and we have leftovers, we're already thinking about what that's going to be used for. If I cook a batch of white rice in our house, I went through the process of washing it, cooking it, preparing it, eating it, and there's leftover, we already know that's going to be used later in the week. So plan for its use as soon as you can. Finally, I want to say before we get to this piece, for us, it was a game all along. When this started 5 years ago, at the beginning of COVID, it was a way for us to do something fun together in the midst of our jobs, stuck in our house for hours on end between Zoom calls and conference calls. We tackled this like we were contestants on a hybrid of guys' grocery games and Chopped. Every day was an adventure of what was going to happen at dinner time because we obviously sometimes did not know. We got to wing it since we were home all the time. So A, have fun, make a plan, but third, document it. Just speaking it into existence over the trash can held us accountable for what we were doing. This is the document that we created the year after the planner, and it hung excuse me, it hung on our refrigerator, printed out in 11 by 14, and we documented everything. This sad month in July, we had gone like 3 months in a row with no waste, and then we fell off in July. I know. You can read that, 32 cents. It was a bad month. We had done a pantry sweep and discovered a bottle of like corn syrup. I can't read my own writing. Corn syrup that had you couldn't save it, right? So we documented it, and then that's how we got to the rolling total at the end of the year. So do that. Take a minute to speak it out loud, document it, and that's how we hold ourselves accountable. And that also helps us keep score that we did better than the year before. I know this whole topic is crazy. I get that. And I don't want to ruin your lunch, which is next. We were already sort of self-identified as aspiring minimalists before this happened, and this just put the feather in the cap. But it has seeped into other areas. As my diet and health has changed over time, we begin to think at the restaurant, how much will I order? How much will I take in? How much do I plan to eat? Will that takeout box actually, when it gets to the hotel tonight, be of any value tomorrow? Probably not. So I order less at the restaurant. So our dinner tab last night was less than it was 5 years ago. It's changed the way that we think about our utilities and how our house can be more sustainable and how we contribute to the consumption in our small community. It affects the way that we purchase other tangible goods for our house. Like, will that chair last for 20 years? Will that shirt, is that a good investment? It has seeped into other areas of how we consume responsibly. Grocery prices are ridiculous. So we're off track of our budget for grocery prices. This year to today, we've spent about $1,600 of groceries into our house. And we have continued on this journey of reducing food costs. And today, this year, we've wasted, what a letdown. I know. Listen, I'm not proud of this, but I promised transparency and honesty, right? We're not proud. It is what it is. My wife and I were lured by the dreams of warehouse store membership about 4 months ago. We had never done it. And my advice to you is don't. I saw a package of tasty treats, and we bought them. And it was a lot. I didn't enjoy them as much as I thought I would. And before we discovered the problem, we're just chucking this product into the trash. But again, it was a reminder for us when that happens, we do another sweep of the pantry. We do a sweep of the fridge. Not too long ago, late last year, I found, contributed that other dollar amount, we found a bag of shredded cheese. They got tucked somewhere inappropriate in the back of the fridge, and we lost about $2 worth of cheese. Like you, I am a pretty happy upper middle class suburban dude. I can afford $2 wasted cheese. It's not always about the dollar amount. We could afford that loss. But what that loss of putting it on the paper, it spurned a check of the pantry, of the fridge, and just see where we are. And that's when we discovered a bottle of tahini that we had bought. That stuff's not cheap. And it had been there a little while. We knew we needed to use it. The next day, hummus as an appetizer. And I saved myself a $5 loss on the tahini. That's how I want you to look at it too. This isn't about doing good or better or best. It's about holding yourself accountable to the process so that you can move closer to a zero food waste household. Final thought. Recently, some friends in our town in Dayton, Ohio, had seen my talk on TEDx, and he said to me, "I've not enjoyed a meal the same way since I saw your talk." And I apologized to him. I said, "I am so sorry that I'm in your kitchen every night." He said, "It's fine, but my wife and I had made this new recipe for stuffed bell peppers, and the recipe called for 6 peppers. There's only 2 of us. At the end of the night, we're looking at 4 stuffed bell peppers in this dish. And I immediately went back to your talk. We packaged them up and put them in the freezer. And I know now I have a dinner ready next week that's already been paid for, already been prepared, and can be done in a few minutes. That's how I want you to think about it. What can you do instead of throwing it away? How will you use it later? Okay, it's me and you before lunch. Leave here today thinking about not can you do it like Bryan and Melissa did it, but how will you make changes in your household to move you toward this goal of zero food waste? Don't let this ruin your lunch. Promise me. But when you get back home, Sunday night or Monday night, and you begin to make a meal, and at the end of that meal, you're struggling, what do we do with what's left over? I want you to think strategically about it. Make a plan for it, store it well, and use it, and save it from the trash can. And when you do, share your story. Tell somebody else about what you're doing. If you put it on social, tag us, and we'd love to join you on your road to zero food waste household. It's easier to write down than it is to say. So let us travel with you, and we're always here to help. Contact us if you want. Thanks.